pretending it's shouting, but really it's not very much. Because I was watching TV while you were filming.
Greetings, Ranger fans, and welcome to another edition of Database Rangers Power Reviews. We count down the 100 weeks to the 100th and final episode. And here we're coming up on another big milestone. Now, I'm going to ask you in the chat, because I've already seen the chat. No spoilers in the chat. Nothing regarding news today in the chat. I've been trying so hard to catch up on those news. I have not been able to yet. My car had trouble. I had to drop it off at the garage. I was literally watching the panel from Hasbro while sitting in the waiting room of the Midas. And I got through the panel and then I saw, oh, these reveals are in a separate interview. And so I couldn't watch that separate interview until I got home. And I've been watching that separate interview, but I need to keep skipping over everything that's a spoiler for Dino Fury, because I haven't watched the second half of Dino Fury, even though I know it came out yesterday. I have not had any time since yesterday. I was filming last night, I was working all day, I'm not going to have time until the weekend. So, I know that they've revealed things with Cosmic Fury. I've made my way through the video. I literally had to pause at the point where they cut it off in the panel, because it was time to do the stream. So no spoilers with regards to what's coming next for Cosmic Fury. I've been trying to see the actual announcement. So if you have made a comment that I've tried not to read, please delete it if it is in any way a spoiler on what is coming for Cosmic Fury. Okay? Any spoilers for Cosmic Fury or Dino Fury, please do not include those in the chat. I'm trying to see them as the actual announcements and in the actual series, which I intend to watch this weekend. And also, the other thing is, it's not just me. I also don't want to spoil my co-host for this evening. Because, surprise!
Hi!
MJ has decided to join in for this one at my request, and I am very appreciative.
Of course, sweetheart. I was invited, and so I have come.
Because, you know, I had a guest last week.
Yes, Yash.
And it was Yash's, so Yash could see his first episode. That he was my stunt double in. And he was over filming that night. Now, obviously, you're here every night. And so I'm like, I should bring in MJ for the next episode, because this is a huge focus episode for you.
Yeah, it kind of is.
Because you're prominent. All three of your characters are prominent here.
All three of me. It's a big episode for all three of me.
And it's the first episode that doesn't actually feature me. So I figured that I should bring in the person who is the central character.
The first episode that doesn't feature you.
Episode 91 is the first episode not to feature a database.
When you say feature, you mean doesn't have him in it at all?
Doesn't have him in it at all.
Because he certainly he has not featured.
He featured in terms of he does not appear. Obviously it's the first one to not.
We have
had others that have not focused on database.
We had the Summer Saga.
And even before the Summer Saga, there was episode 56, where he only showed up at the very, very end. And then Summer Saga, he was always only in the very beginning, with the exception
that got
of the
repeated
last two.
over and over again.
But this is the only one that doesn't have me, doesn't have the landlord, doesn't have any of my characters.
Hey, Rudy. Hey, Darren.
Yes, welcome everyone. Good to see you, Chris, Rudy, Lumina, and thank you for retracting those messages with the spoilers.
Somebody hasn't. Somebody hasn't.
Yeah, I just saw something. And then Dyrano, good to see you as well. So again, if you have posted anything regarding Cosmic Fury, please remove that. Same thing with any spoilers for Season 2 of Dino Fury.
Hang on.
Oh, you're removing it? Yeah.
Yeah, I'm a mod. I can do that.
Yeah. Well, You're also just literally reaching over onto my
That's true.
computer. I don't
But that was a spoiler, and I don't want you to see it.
Yeah.
I have now saved you from it.
All right. So it's one of those things that I've been seeing
Don't
around.
make me get out the delete hammer again.
And where I'm like you had asked me about that, and I'm like, I don't know how to answer that because what I've seen feels incomplete for me to be able to answer what is apparently happening in Cosmic Fury. There are apparently a lot of things happening in Cosmic Fury. My Twitter feed, like, exploded. Like, normally I can scroll through Twitter and I can see, like, 24 hours ago. I had so many tweets in my timeline, I couldn't even see 3 hours ago. That was ridiculous. So, yes, huge news today. Now, that being said, I have seen the Hasbro panel. So, I know about the toys coming out. They look cool. That Astro Megazord is sweet. So nice. Surely going to be too expensive, but looks so nice. We know about certain aspects of the big 30th anniversary, which I've shown to you because I figured you'd be excited by that.
I like him.
Yes.
I mean, I like them both, but...
Yeah. It's like our favorites from back when. So, all that said, with regards to Dino Fury having dropped yesterday, which we knew was coming, obviously, I don't know when I'm going to be able to do the rapid run-throughs and deeper looks.
Because we gotta finish this series.
I'm so swamped. Frankly, I'm not. I'm working on alternative on what's the word? Starts with so it's another word
Constellation?
for not constellation. It's another word for like alternative contingencies. I'm working on contingencies for the 10-year anniversary because I'm not confident that I'll be able to hit it with episode 98 because episode 98 is so huge. I've been doing a lot of work on it, but it is massive. I've been filming pretty consistently all throughout these last 2 weeks.
The return of Mayo means the return of stream snacks.
Yes.
Or MJ. I just called myself Mayo. Okay, it's also my screen name online, so people actually call me that.
That's true. That is like your nickname in real life, which was how it became your character, because my character was based off my screen name.
Yeah, but people don't call you that in real life most of the time.
Yeah, that's true. Well, yeah, most of the people who think of me as Database, it's through, at this point, it's now through Database Rangers Power Reviews.
I mean, it's my gamer tag.
I've managed to successfully divorce myself from the character of Database. So people, oddly enough, creating the character of Database led to people no longer thinking of me as Database.
Yeah.
Which is fascinating.
Whereas, my guild still calls me Mayo when we're going on raid.
Yeah,
so.
Because it's not in the same sort of context. My Database context was always within the context of the Power Rangers fandom, and now my screen name has taken a life of its own as a whole separate character from me, which is hilarious. But speaking of all that, we should be diving into the episode we're going to review.
Yeah.
But before we do, let us not forget our 3 equally non-controversial phrases. Number 1, say it with me, chat. Black Lives Matter. Number 2, say it with me, chat. Fascism is bad. And number 3, say it with me, chat. Superheroes are fun. So
I'm thinking you're going to bean us with that sign.
I know, but I was keeping it on this side of me so I wouldn't hit you.
Mirrors.
Oh, because you felt like it was coming in on the other side because of the mirrored of the... Yeah. So, let us dive into episode 91. So many laptops, I'm forgetting where my mouse is. Episode 91 of Database Rangers Power Reviews. Our review of episode 91 of Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. When is a ranger not a ranger?
Previously on
TikTok?
Power
Oh,
Review.
we're old.
The database detects Power Rangers
go.
fluctuation in the cross-dimensional continuum. If Alphabet Soup disrupts the tachyon...
Oh, the Astro Megazord showed up on TikTok?
And what?
Apparently.
By going into the
That seems appropriate.
What was up with all that?
Everything's on TikTok now.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like seeing it on Facebook or
That's where all the
YouTube.
all the youngins, all the hip people are.
Yeah.
You lost her.
I prefer not to have Chinese spyware on my phone. So.
That's fair. Digging into the K Alpha arc and all that business. I'm still very proud
I don't
of that
even
one.
want an
laser
Alexa
cutting
in my house. If I don't trust American companies, I really don't trust
Yeah.
people committing concentration camp atrocities.
I'm always kind of amused by how quickly I need to cut through all these plot points from previously on. So I'm
To
just
get it
like,
all in.
DB, let's go. There's you.
Yeah, that sure is me. My face is big. Why is my face so big?
It's on the TV. You're on the TV there.
Paying Dr. Stephen standing across the hiatus, but there is no sign of him or the landlord's fortress anywhere.
I'm sorry for how long this monologue
And I
was.
can't find a single spell in my tablet to bring him back. So,
You're nailing it.
I was pregnant when you did this.
You were.
and all I can think is,
You were absolutely
I was
pregnant.
pregnant with
during
RJ.
this. Yes.
See, there's a lot of confessional shots in the late series. Like, we did a lot of stuff earlier in the pregnancy
Yeah.
so that I wasn't showing. But here, if I'd have stood up,
Yeah. You were full on pregnant when we were filming this.
yeah.
Like this was filmed.
I called it up in the middle of the archery suite, and I said to take the other.
I think you may have even been like 6 months at that point. I forget.
Oh, yeah, I was heavily pregnant.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
But we
And then we went to do the K stuff for the next episode, or the episode after?
for that was 4 episodes, 95.
95.
Yeah.
Okay. When we went to do the K stuff, I couldn't actually get through all of it. I was too pregnant.
That's right. But that one was at least far enough off that we
And we
could
were
hold
able to
off.
film part of it after RJ was born.
Yeah. And then of course, obviously, the voiceovers were less priority, and there were definitely a ton of shots that we
Are
wanted
you
to make sure
kidding?
recorded.
Some of these
but-
things, I was like 7 or 8 months pregnant when I was doing the voiceover.
Yeah.
You brought the equipment out to the living room so I could record it on the couch.
Yes.
That's my husband, taking very good care of me while making me record while heavily pregnant.
I tried.
Oh no, not the kaleidoscope.
That's the episode. Yeah.
This is the angry about the kaleidoscope episode. Whereas the stuff in the car with the Morponsters was filmed like 2 years before I even got pregnant.
No, just this was they were filmed in 2019,
2019.
and you got pregnant in 2020.
So like a year and a half.
Yeah. Or actually, not even a full year.
Was it? Wow.
Yeah.
What do you mean he's gone?
It's.
But all that stuff in the car there is from that.
Oh,
last-
I kind of love this shot
You
because.
put it in the CD drive, didn't you? Oh no, the clock.
Yeah.
The clock console of,
Yeah.
the car.
Of my car, because I'm like, oh, I need this shot, so I
Because
just
we
ran
no
out.
longer had Dave's car.
I just ran out to my car, pointed my camera at that console, and then I composited in one of our like stock science-y
Yeah. It's the tachyon story.
the tachyon
That's what
storm.
the thing is called, the tachyon storm.
Yeah.
But
But
all
it
this,
works surprisingly
Oh, yeah.
well here, doesn't it? Actually, I think that was. I
but
think
all
that was
this
just a
business
photo.
in the car here was not only our last day with the Morponsters, it was our last day with Dave's car.
No, it wasn't.
No?
No, he held on to that car for like another good 2 years
Oh, goodness.
just for us.
Oh, that's right, because this was at the one place, and then we filmed the other place at the place they bought.
No, that was still. Both of those were in their garage.
They were? I thought it was in the garage with a rental the other time.
No.
No? Okay, never mind.
No, when they were still renting, that was when we were working on the year 2 finale.
Right, when he had a skylight.
Yeah, and I had to run all those power strips down the driveway. We didn't film in the garage because there wasn't room there.
It was Dave's rental when
Yeah.
when you had
Oh, because I needed the exterior
Tranquilizer Pizza.
background. Yes.
Tranquilizer Pizza was at.
Yeah.
Because he also lived in our apartment complex.
Yes.
But not when the Tranquilizer Pizza happened. He was renting a house
Right.
by then.
And no,
I don't
Rudy,
like
we have not seen Hocus Pocus 2. We do not have Disney Plus.
I want to see Hocus Pocus 2.
It looks like it's probably fun.
maybe if I'm lucky, when my best friend comes over for Halloween, she might log us into a Disney Plus so that we can watch Hocus Pocus 2.
Yeah. There's a lot.
We bought a Halloween house.
Whoop.
We didn't know we bought a Halloween house until we were at the closing. But we bought a Halloween house.
Apparently our house is...
It's a destination on Halloween. The kids expect a lot.
Also, I'm amused how, like, there are certain shots with, like, K Alpha doing the Cat's Cradle that I just keep recycling from different parts.
I mean, she's just kind of blankly doing Cat's Cradle, so you can.
Yeah, but it was like all in front of your. It was like the just focusing on the hands, and I kept using those shots in the previous episode for like Dave's voiceovers because I didn't get a chance to film Dave.
Right. Right. So you're able to get audio from Dave.
Kaleidoscope rant.
Oh.
Because I'm a physics teacher.
Yep.
So I had to write a kaleidoscope rant.
The reflection!
Over and over.
Bees! Bees use refraction!
There were so many, like, I think there was one where you did this, and your mouth became giant. And I'm kind of sad that ended up not being, like, the best take, because that was just such a funny thing to happen with the glasses. I'm also continually amused that we keep that box that we use for the background of all these confessionals is basically
that's not this.
That's from before I had a set, and I did that for
that box
for the
over
Ranger
there,
logs,
which is the box that the Mark I Phantom costume was.
Yeah, the original costume. Because we had somebody else build that for us originally.
And spray paint left over from when you tried to make a spiral saber for our wedding.
Oh, yeah. That's where that paint was from. Oof. This scene.
I did.
Gut punch.
Oh, golly.
Yep.
I'm also super pregnant here, and you can see it in my face. I'm so chubby.
Yeah. I definitely ended up focusing a lot on heads and faces for you throughout this.
When I was pregnant.
Yeah. We did as best as we could
to film around it.
Honestly, I'm still amazed that this episode, better than almost any other episode of Year 3, came out right on schedule. Like, during the winter break when our child was born. Somehow this came out on schedule. And it's not like I was like, you know, I was there in the hospital the whole time. I was there for the feedings, etc. Oh, this one. Hug!
That's Peggy!
Peggy's the hug.
That
is a wig head. So we needed. I knew when I put out the call for Yash to be my stunt double, I also put out a call for someone to be your double, but that didn't end up working out.
And then we realized one day
that you and Peggy, who plays the secretary were the same height.
Yeah.
So I had Peggy when she was over filming one time for like 95.
She did a bunch of her own scenes, and then we put her in my sweatshirt and wig.
Exactly. But we didn't do the other half of it, and then like COVID happened. So the other half was literally me holding a styrofoam wig head with, and it has like the Phantom Ranger hood on there so that you can't see
any white.
So you can't see the white of the wig head under the wig. And I'm just like, it's sitting right over there too.
I'm kind of tempted to go grab it and hug it.
You want to go grab it?
We understand how you feel, but I have no idea how it feels. You don't know what it's like.
Dr. K has no patience. And so repeatedly, I was just going, I just was like, okay, and hug, hug, and just trying to make sure it looked like a person. Oh yeah, Billy and Kim's pilot dialogue in this episode was great. Now, obviously, those wide shots where we do the composites, those were some of the first ones we had to shoot for this
Yes,
episode.
we had to shoot those right away. I was like, Jake, if we don't film this soon, I'm not going to be able to button Mayo's pants.
Exactly.
We were able to do Kay a little later because the dark skirt and the lab coat covered.
But any of the composites we did same day.
We did. And then, but some of the stuff that I did in the hallway with other characters as Kay could wait a little longer because we were able to hide the bump with the lab coat.
Yeah.
But Mayo's costume covers nothing, so Mayo from the waist down had to be covered within the first, say, 18 to 20 weeks.
Yeah, exactly.
And after that, there was no more Mayo from the waist down.
Now, with regards to the episode choice, this was an episode that I knew I wanted to do.
I'm pregnant there, too.
Oh, yeah. We kept having so much trouble actually keeping...
I couldn't, I was busting out of that top, too.
Yeah, you had to keep, because we had to keep repinning that.
Her top is only held
got
together
that little,
with a stick pin.
That little silver brooch.
It's a tension pin.
Yeah,
and so we actually had to reinforce it with a safety pin behind it.
Yeah.
That has a proper clasp.
I swear none of these people know how amnesia works. Rocky and Aisha find the monster, which is just standing there for some reason, and are somehow...
This is also, just a... It's a fun episode.
Oh, I just love how angry I am in this episode.
It's fun to go
I'm so...
into those rants.
So salty.
I
love being salty.
It is always fun when you could just dig into an episode like that. And it's not because it's necessarily a bad episode.
And it's
just
more fun to be salty as Mayo than it is to be salty as Kay.
Oh yeah.
Because Kay has certain emotional constraints.
Yeah.
But Mayo can really emote and be really
I still love that one.
Not that Kay doesn't emote, but Kay does it in a constrained way. Mayo can get.
I still love that one rant I gave to Kay for Harmony and Discord, where it was a 26-word alphabetical insult ending on yodeling zebras. Chris, you are so good in all of this. Also, whenever you see Chris's shoulder, that's my shoulder. Because every time you see a guy anywhere, if you can't see their head, it's just me. It's always me.
Nothing!
It's just so catatonic. And by the way, his fanboying over K Alpha is again based around genuine physics theory, because I always try to have the Technobabble be based around something that's reasonable in terms of physics theory. But yeah, the Vulcan skull development is really what makes this episode work. There's so much nonsense in the plot of it, but the character work is great. And that's one of the reasons I wanted to do this. I felt like I wanted to do a Vulcan skull episode, and it felt like it was going to be most appropriate as an episode that was focused entirely on the side character, all the other characters who aren't Database. Database is the main character of the series, obviously, and for the first episode to not have him at all in it, I wanted to do the Vulcan skull focus episode.
When it's a ranger, not a ranger.
How the team copes with no longer having their Power Ranger. The nothing scientific, of course, works in this episode. The Power Rangers episode, none of the science makes any sense, but I try to make sure that the science of the Power Reviews characters makes at least some degree of sense. There's a whole thing that
it's making no sense.
There's a whole thing that we get into in episode 96. There's the landlord has that whole big speech at the beginning of 96 to explain a plot point that's based around actual physics theory that was proven during the course of me making the show. which is wild.
Oh, now
Whoop.
this is earlier. You can see it again in my face.
Yep.
Kay is not so chipmunk cheeky. Because I got all chipmunk cheeky when I was pregnant.
But yeah, obviously all of the wide shots were done early, and we could do full body. And then, of course, again, those more Posner shots were all filmed in advance.
Ketchup!
We call you Thousand Island dressing. I love that line. This was a very composite-heavy episode for you.
Honest and upright and intelligent and responsible.
Paul Schreier and Jason Narvey were just such good actors. They owned their roles so well.
That was difficult.
Oh, that shot right there.
Getting the string on their hands. In
Oh,
one go.
right. Yeah, that took so many takes to get that right with them.
Well, because Cat's cradle is much easier when they're both your hands. But when it was Justin and Sarah's each individual one hand,
Yeah,
me transferring onto their hands without losing any of the loops.
that took some rehearsal.
So much rehearsal.
We had to do a lot of trial and error with those Cat's cradles. And then in every other shot that you see with them through 95, they're still holding the Cat's cradle too, which is
At least they just had to
challenging.
hold it in one configuration. I was actually doing
It was still tricky to walk around
Oh yeah, when they had
like
to move
that.
through doorways that way.
with
Poor
the
Justin and Sarah.
strings like digging into their fingers. I'm a terrible person.
Rocky and Aisha actively seek out the monster with no backup and are surprised when backup doesn't get there at the same time they do. Like, I would get it if there was any sense of danger or urgency with the monster
This is
attacking random people.
But he's standing around a field.
Standing around
so
together.
ridiculous.
They chose to put themselves and the helpless Tommy and Kimberly directly in its path. And then
But it's also just fun doing, the episode rants from the perspective of different characters.
Is it just me, or is Mayo smarter than Dr. K? No. There's each smart in different ways.
Yeah.
Mayo definitely has a much higher emotional intelligence.
Yeah. Oh, I forgot to comment on it. Yeah, we had the earlier shot where Dr. K discovered her name. And somebody's saying that they really want the reveal. Dyrano's saying they really want the reveal by the end of the series. This is, to me, the important thing was not for the audience to learn Dr. K's name,
But for K to learn Dr.
but for
K's.
K to learn K's name. That was what needed to happen. That was what
And
I felt was necessary.
I picked a name,
Yes, you did.
but the only way anyone's ever going to find out is if I ever finish that alphabet soup fan
Right,
fiction.
right.
Because the last chapter is going to be K is for, and then
Yeah.
it's capitalism. It's capitalism.
Yeah. Like, I get to play much more fast and loose and casual with Mayo. There's some things that
Mayo gets to say stuff that I would say.
Yeah, more stuff that you would say, and stuff that I wouldn't necessarily have Database say.
No.
Like,
It's capitalism, Kim.
or at the very least, I feel like I wouldn't phrase it the same way with Database.
Stevie's not stupid. He's been in messes like this before and found his way out. And it's not the first time we've done without him, but I just wish we didn't have to.
No.
As crazy as my life's been since he's been around.
And then this is another
It makes
kind of
everything seem, I don't know,
big
more
speak.
possible. Like the craziness of every day is just
This is
another
again
step.
sort of
No,
building
you're
up
not
their
alone.
relationship a little bit more
Somehow
too.
he helps me believe that. Maybe that's what I need to hold on to.
No.
The idea that we can be heroes without him.
And yes, MJ wrote a fan. MJ has written several fanfics, but
I write a lot of fanfiction, actually.
I know.
Mayonnaise Jane, Archive of Our Own.
and here's the one little tease. That was that one little tease for '93 guy going
Oh,
into...
they were trying to do the transfer on their own, and that was not good.
That took so much work. I basically just had them do like this.
Yeah.
Just wiggling it around. But yeah, these little teases of 93 right there at the end.
Maybe I should recommend the others try them. We could all use a little more clarity.
That the others try doing the reviews as well.
Farewell, Ranger fans.
And let the
No!
Dave doing the Darth Vader no.
And that no was also I
have
was also a voiceover.
26 chapter Dr. K centric fan fiction that I think is only up to like chapter 12 or something.
Yeah, I forget how far you made it through that.
But I have a whole outline, and
Yeah.
my beta reader's been too busy.
I'm sorry.
But hey, when this is over, maybe I'll get around to finishing it. And when we get to the last chapter, then you'll find out what I think Kay's name is.
Right.
In the meantime, I've been focusing on my person of interest fic.
Is that on fanfic?
No, it's on Archive of Our Own.
Okay. I know I had stuff on fanfiction.net years ago.
You had better move that, because fanfic.net is rumored to be dying.
Yeah, I gotta search that stuff out because I don't think I still have the documents anymore.
But yeah,
because that's from high school.
Mostly I write.
Oh
I have a
my
person
God.
of interest long fic that's going pretty freaking long right now, and
I
then I
have
have the Dr. K one, and then I had a short Evangelion fic, and I wrote a lot of stuff as a teenager that I
Yeah.
am very glad disappeared with GeoCities.
I just realized my Wild Force fan fiction has been on fanfiction.net for 20 years.
Yeah, my Babylon 5 fiction is gone, my
That's
X-Files
wild.
fiction is gone. All of the really terrible, cringy stuff I wrote when I was 15 is gone.
It's just weird to think of anything that you've done being on the internet for 20 years. That's 20 years. It's a long time.
I think the oldest one I have up there is the short Evangelion one, because I wrote that in college. So
Yeah.
that one's about 15 years old.
Oh, what your Dr. K fanfic?
Alphabet Soup.
Was it just called Alphabet Soup?
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, it was called Alphabet Soup. At this
It's
point,
called Alphabet Soup.
Yeah.
My handle on there is Mayonnaise Jane,
yeah,
and it's on the Archive of Our Own.
Yep.
It hasn't been updated in 4, 5, 6, I'm not sure how many years.
yeah, and then the Wild Force fanfiction was on fanfic.net. I don't know if it's still there or not, but it was. I only did 2 chapters. It was called Dreams of Shayla. And then I also did 6 episodes of a series called Power Rangers Militia. That was a collaboration with some friends.
All the friends.
But then I ended up being the only one who ended up actually writing any episodes.
But you know what else is Jake's fan fiction? Database Rangers Power Reviews.
Yeah, this is technically a fanfic series. It's and it's kind
about the Phantom Ranger.
It's a fan
And Dr. K.
It's a fan fiction series. With a PH.
What is the name of?
Oh, yeah, I
That,
already
you just
answered
answered that.
But yeah, that was kind of one of the things with Power Reviews was that it's introduced as a review series and then is slowly revealed to be a fan film series.
Yes.
Which I don't really think anyone else has ever quite done in this way.
And then
There's been
led
similar
to some
things.
confusion.
Yeah.
Because there was a period of time.
Oh, Dyranos found it already.
There was a period of time where you had a little bit of difficulty with your communications with Saban Brands because you were classified as being press.
Yes.
This was classified.
Because I was doing
Power
reviews.
Was covered as actual reviews, as
Which
opposed,
I mean, it also
kind of
is.
also is, but more importantly, it's to me, and I think to you, is the story surrounding
Yeah.
the fic.
The reviews.
The reviews.
Yeah, no, for me, it really is. The reviews are very much a vehicle for the story.
Right.
And it's. I feel like Power Reviews.
Power Reviews is basically a fan series in a fan film kind of way that uses the reviews. And here's the thing: it's not so much a thing anymore.
Yeah.
But at the time,
Oh yeah, that was a whole genre.
that was a whole genre. And that was a hook. You
Yeah.
could get an audience by doing reviews
Yeah.
and then trick them into watching a fan series.
That was kind of the idea.
Nowadays, the fan series would probably have gotten people to watch reviews.
Something like, I don't even know anymore.
Because, as it turns out, reviews don't seem to be doing so well. Like, even just the peer reviews for a lot of people.
Yeah, Chris, with Dreams of Shayla, that was basically, I had the idea of what would be going on in Merrick's mind during the 3,000 years he was trapped in the coffin as Zanaku. Or in the
literally
in the
dreams.
crypt. Yeah, it's literally, this was what was going on in what he was dreaming of as he was slowly being corrupted by the Mask of Zanaku.
But all of yours is unfinished, right?
Yes, that was,
And
yeah.
so
Dreams
is,
of Shayla.
unfortunately, Alphabet Soup.
Yeah, Dreams of Shayla is, I only did the first 2 chapters, but the idea was that if it had continued going, I had like a whole series in mind that I just never got around to. But, which is one of the reasons I'm so driven to finish Power
Cribbed
Reviews.
a bit from Alphabet Soup for this series.
Yes, the digital nucleotide
Analog.
analogs. That terminology was terminology that you came up with.
I had done
in
a
your
bunch
web
of
series.
plot hole
In
filling in
your,
terms
fan
of.
fiction.
I had done a bunch of plot hole filling in terms of K's technology.
Yeah.
And although they do actually still take place in 2 separate universes, because this.
I've got no problem using your stuff as canon for me.
Well, no, you will when you get to the end.
Right. Because you end up at a different endpoint.
I end up at a different endpoint. Then at an endpoint that would not be feasible to then follow with Database Rangers Power Rangers.
Right.
But a lot of the basically any.
I'm glad to hear that Dreams of Shayla is actually apparently still there, alongside I
if
assume
you
Power
hadn't
Rangers
deleted
Militia.
It wouldn't be there.
I don't know, I haven't checked.
That stuff doesn't get deleted unless you delete it.
I haven't looked at the website in
But
like
you
10
might want to
years.
grab it before
I
the whole
probably
site goes
do
down.
want to download some things before it goes down. That and Power Rangers Militia, which a lot of work went into Power Rangers Militia.
But basically, from what
yeah.
anything that took place, anything from Alphabet Soup that was a flashback to pre-Power Rangers RPM, everything, we ran with that as being canon in this universe as well.
Lumina's asked this question twice, I believe. Besides DB, who is the second most likely to sacrifice themselves?
Okay. And it,
Actually, I'm not sure. Because, let's be honest, Guy would probably also be willing to do a sacrifice play.
fair.
I'd say it'd be tight between Kay and Guy.
Well, because Kay has always had a little bit of a
Self-destructive
streak because she's still not really processed the whole.
Kay is definitely self-destructive, but I think
because hers is guilt-driven.
yeah, I think it's very close between those two. I think that Guy has a little bit more of like a hero savior complex.
Well, I was going to say, Guy's reasoning would be more altruistic, and
Yeah.
Kay's would be more self-destructive.
Yes.
But they would both be trying to throw themselves on the grenade.
Well, here's the thing with I think the way that they throw themselves on the grenade is a little different. Guy is more likely to dive into battle, which is why I think he'd be more likely to literally sacrifice himself. Whereas Kay, she is so cognizant of her own ability that I feel like she wouldn't sacrifice herself knowing that there's more that she still needed to do and could contribute in terms of her intellect.
Except that she would if it was a guilt-driven behavior. Like,
Right.
if, say, for example, she messed something up,
Yes.
somebody was in danger because she messed it up,
Right.
and she could trade places with them, she'd
Yeah.
do it in a heartbeat.
But I think...
Okay.
Alright, and Diurno, you're welcome to ask your question when you like. I think with Kay, she's always blaming herself for things. I feel like
she wants the chance to make them right.
Right. I
And
feel
that's
like
why I
for
say that
her,
for her-
self-sacrifice would feel like almost an easy way out. Like she deserves to suffer more, and that would be an easy way
Absolutely. And that's why I said that in her case, she would have to also feel responsible for whatever she's.
out. Yeah, it would have to be
sacrificing
a very specific situation, I think, with her. Whereas with Guy, I feel like that's a lot more generalized. I feel like
if she, for example, I feel like she would probably throw herself on a grenade for K Alpha pretty quick.
yes,
Because she feels like she owes K Alpha.
yes, that is absolutely true. That is very. Whereas Guy, he's
Guy just wants to save.
he's going to go down in battle. He would go down in battle wherever, like if that's what the mission calls for, he will sign up.
If
for
we
it.
were putting together a Ranger team right now, Guy would be a great red.
Yeah, I mean, it's tight between him and Database sometimes because Database takes the lead on so many things.
I'm talking about from a story perspective.
No, I know.
Because Database is Phantom already. He can't.
Oh, okay. You're saying if Guy were to have a Ranger color, you think he'd be a Red Ranger. That's fair, especially since
because the Red Rangers are very often self-sacrificial, hero complex guys.
Yeah, and I mean, Phantom is Database is already Phantom.
Okay, well,
so he's
if
blind.
they're what Ranger powers had, but there's a twist to the question.
Okay. But yeah, we were talking about, I know, Guy would be like the Jungle Fury Honey Badger Ranger.
Honey Badger don't give a bleep.
Which I guess would probably be more of a Black Ranger in terms of the coloration of the Honey Badger. I think that's the color of the Honey Badger.
I mean, the penguin's purple, so...
No, the wolf was purple.
The wolf is purple. Okay, the wolf is purple.
That's fair. The purple wolf.
Penguin's kind of what?
The penguin. What was the penguin? The penguin
orange.
Penguin was just kind of penguin colored. She didn't really. Well, she wasn't a ranger.
Right, that's true. Yeah, but didn't they have?
There was a Zord.
Right, but I could swear that the Morphin Masters had like a toy that showed you what they looked like.
Well, they had animal forms.
Yeah.
But as an animal form, she was still just penguin colored, just like Master Tusk was elephant colored as opposed to green.
Twist is no Mystic Force powers for Mayo and no Jungle Force
Oh, okay.
powers
So
for Guy.
if they didn't get to use those powers, which powers would they have?
Okay.
All right. So this is if we had to pick powers for them that were outside of their traditionally aligned powers. Well, let's see. What else has Mayo?
You think about Guy. I'll think about Mayo.
Okay. I mean, I'm trying to think in terms of what episodes I've had them review and have had arranged with and have aligned with them. I've had Guy aligned with both Time Force and SPD.
And
I think
he does have that kind of. He would be very much in.
I think SPD is probably a little bit more in line with Guy's persona compared to Time Force. Although Time Force, I think, would probably be like if SPD is second, Time Force would be third.
Oh, Lumina's got an interesting idea. I wasn't even thinking about some of the unused Sentai.
Oh, you're thinking Sentai.
I mean, yeah, I could see Mayo. From what I've seen of Kira Major, that would be very Mayo.
Yeah.
It's very cute. She's very Kira.
It's very sparkly.
Yes.
Yes.
But if we were going,
I mean, my thought would be that Mayo would be probably some pretty old school.
Yeah. Like in space.
Yeah, I was honestly thinking either Zero or Mighty Morphin because those were the episodes that she's reviewed.
Fair enough.
But yeah, that I'm just again thinking
with
in
her
terms
skill
of what
set in space would make more sense.
She would make a good space ranger. She's demonstrated
She'd be
that.
at home on the Astro Mega ship.
Yeah. Oh, maybe a Galaxy Ranger actually. That might not be a bad one. I know you haven't seen Lost Galaxy.
I haven't seen that one.
Well, the thing about Lost Galaxy is that they're on a space station, but they have they have ancient powers.
The turtle, right?
No, you're thinking Wild Force.
Oh.
No, Lost Galaxy was when they were on the space station Terra Venture.
Okay.
That's the season with Kendricks.
Okay, so what would Mayo's Ranger power be?
Um,
I
so
mean-
like animal themes or magic and things like that. So maybe the Butterfly Galaxy Ranger.
She does do butterflies.
Her
Are they animals, Galaxy Rangers?
Yes, they're animals, but they're
Monarch.
also space.
She'd be orange.
She'd be the Orange Monarch.
Orange monarch, monarch butterfly.
I could roll with that. She would have the Charlie Brown zigzags.
Oh, and if we're lucky, some wings like whatchamacallit has in Train Show.
Oh,
No,
wait.
not Train Show. Q Ranger.
Oh, cute. Like Raptor. In Q
Yeah,
Ranger.
right.
Yes. Oh, that'd be cute. Oh, actually, can we just give Mayo Raptor's powers? Actually,
Yeah, let's just give Mayor's Raptors powers.
if we're using Sentai.
And
Yeah.
then Dave.
There's so
Guy-
many Q Rangers to choose from. You could make anyone be a Q Ranger. Like, I could see Guy being like Garu. Ukami
Yeah.
Blue.
Okay. Yep.
That's like if I were to place Guy as one of the Q Rangers.
I mean, it's that or Naga.
True.
Because he's so very stoic.
I can almost see Kay as more of a Naga.
Fair enough.
We want to talk about emotions and whatnot.
Okay, and
I
then of
still
course,
can't
if
believe Q
we're
Ranger only had
we're
two
giving
votes.
away Ranger powers to all of the people, then obviously
So-
we have to go with RPM for the more Potsners because they are absolutely channeling Gem and Gemma.
That'd be amazing. Yes, Mitch and Mary's Gem and Gemma. Yes. Oh, that'd be fantastic. I could also see Mayo having fun with the sky blue Q Ranger.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, Katara.
she's also Katara sized.
Exactly.
I'm short.
That would be a lot of fun. But then you get into like the alphabet soup characters and things become a little more vague.
Yeah.
Exactly who would be, because they're also sort of a pseudo villainous organization.
Right. I knew
Yeah,
you'd say that for the more Potsners.
yeah.
I mean, it's so
No,
obvious.
I was trying to think in terms of like what I've had them, what episodes I've had them review, and they haven't touched RPM, but that would be a good.
I mean, this
That's
is
a
the
good
thing.
call.
They
That is
were
very
never
appropriate.
actually written to be that way.
Yeah,
Like, they were written to be creepy,
yeah.
bicameral,
They were vaguely
one person, two brains.
They were vaguely considered as being analogs to Ernie and Ms. Appleby.
Yeah, Ernie and Miss Appleby.
In terms of being that's where sort of
but
the
after their first
overly
appearance,
friendly.
everybody was like, "Oh, it's Gem and Gemma,"
Yeah,
and it was like, "Oh, yeah, kind of," because they do the twin speak thing.
yeah. I was tempted to have like Mitch make smoothies, and that just never really materialized. Although
That's
I
because he made lemon water and lemon ice water and ice water.
although I believe we have had Justin in the Hawaiian shirt
Yes.
during the Summer Saga.
Pardon my own.
Yeah, 2 Q Rangers. The more Potsner says RPM Gold and Silver and
Phantom Ranger.
Phantom
I'll watch
Ranger.
that
Would
right
be fantastic. So yeah, let's say wait. Who does K end up as? Do you think in all this? I know I
He
said
said two
Naga. I
Q
said
Ran-
maybe Naga.
He said 2 Q Rangers.
Okay, so yeah, so we were
he's
talking
counting about Naga and Garu.
or Raptor and Garu.
Oh,
Was-
Raptor and
Raptor
Garu.
was
Okay.
what Mayo was.
Okay, so then K got skipped.
Although K we were saying might be Naga.
Might be a bit Naga.
But it feels wrong to have
No.
Naga without balance.
Yeah, it does.
That's the issue.
She could be, what's his face?
Oh, what, Ryu Commander?
No,
Um,
Stinger.
Stinger.
He's kind of a lone wolf.
Actually, that's another one that wouldn't be bad for Guy either. There's a Guy's definitely an archetype that fits with a number of Ranger teams.
Tay's a pink RPM Ranger? Okay, if we're going with Rangers that don't exist yet.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
You could make a pink RPM Ranger.
I mean, we were kind of theorizing that at first.
Yeah, exactly.
And then we got into the Q Ranger.
I mean,
with Raptor.
I would have made her a white RPM Ranger. Not pink.
How did we not have a white Q Ranger? Oh, no, wait, no, we did, because we had Shishi Orion. There just wasn't a separate white Q Ranger. It was just the Red Ranger became the white Q Ranger. So many Rangers.
Another question about the Ranger powers. If Database didn't have the Phantom Ranger powers, what powers would he have?
That was a good question.
MMPR Black.
MMPR Black. I mean, he was my original favorite growing up, and I did have that spill over into Database a bit. But I don't know on that front, because the Phantom Ranger is so core to who he is and his abilities. Although
Ninjor.
Yes. Oh my god, Database's Ninjor would be amazing. Yes. Okay, I was trying to think of something that was a bit more in line with other stuff, but oh no, that would be amazing.
Who'd have thought that the evil would be stopped?
Well, now you're getting into Blue Centurion.
Oh, it's Blue Centurion, sorry.
No, Blue Centurion fought alongside the Phantom Ranger, briefly. If I'm recalling correctly. The Copper Ranger. No. We've had Copper Rangers. They were called the Pad Rangers.
You never catch me, Copper.
Loop Hat would be such an interesting series to adapt. That's one that I feel like
it's not going to work on a Western audience.
Oh yeah, no, I that might be like an interesting thing to do.
It's a
with
fan
like
film,
a fan
maybe.
film someday.
It's not
Like
gonna work
all
on
the
Western
unadapted
audience.
series, I have fan film backup ideas of what they could be.
And one of the main reasons it's not going to work on a Western audience is because we really like our propaganda.
Yeah.
We really, really like our propaganda. And the Pad Rangers are not good propaganda. They are just destroying their own city all the time.
But there can be some interesting.
So irresponsible.
There could be some interesting social commentary that can be done with a Loop Hat adaptation that I feel like the actual show wouldn't go for, but I would love to go for in a fan film.
Yeah.
Really sort of lean into a little bit of the kind of YA dystopia vibes, and have there be like a team that thinks they're on the right side, but they realize that they're defending like a dystopian government, and I think that could make for a really compelling series where, you know, that they rather than have them be on two sides of the law in a traditional sense, be one side is acting as like the freedom fighters, and the other side thinks that they're being the good guys, but are being manipulated.
I mean,
yeah, or Robin Hood-esque. Yeah, exactly. That's basically kind of the vibe that I'm going.
Yeah, that would be a thing we could get away with in a fan film. But I think the problem for making it officially would be the part where the story does kind of rely on the Pad Rangers realizing that they're wrong, and we don't like police officers figuring out they're wrong in our television for some reason.
I think the premise in and of itself might be leaning a little too much into social commentary and moral nuance than what is the general target for Power Rangers.
That's what I'm saying. Like,
I think that you could do something really interesting for kids in that vein, but I just don't feel like that's what they would be willing to go for as a production team, or at least I haven't seen an indication of that.
Yeah, it would be a little bit more challenging the status quo of cop-based children's programming than I think they're willing to do.
I feel like a deeper exploration into things like, what was that?
See also They've got 4 legs.
Don't know what's happening.
Children's television. With
Oh, what, the
police
Paw
officers.
Patrol?
Paw Patrol!
Apparently this means Paw Patrol. Ooh, the Paw Patrol. But yeah, like, I feel like, you know, we've had some, you know, militaristic or, you know, police-themed seasons that haven't at any point ever
Yeah, we don't challenge that. SVD
Yeah, they've
is
never
unquestionably good.
Yeah, they've never turned a critical lens upon the organization they are operating under. Even though, like, Time Force clearly was doing some dodgy stuff, that was never really given any critical examination within the series. You know,
Pressing the mutants.
Lightspeed, the closest they really had
Lightspeed
to...
had the Paw Patrol thing going on, and that not everybody there was a police officer.
Yeah, well, they weren't police officers, but there was more of a military theme. And...
Wasn't it like a firefighter and a paramedic?
Yeah, they were firefighter, paramedic. But it was all funded by the U.S. government, as far as we could tell. Much like with Beast Morphers. You know, they answered to General they ultimately answered to General Burke. And the same thing and they had...
This is a spiritual successor to RPM, in which they all answered to Colonel Truman.
To Colonel Truman. And sort of the authority of the military over civilians in that context was not really examined outside of a general bucking of authority, but not the systems within which those authorities operate. And
I mean, RPM kind of came close.
Yeah,
Alphabet Soup was a government organization.
That is true. RPM was very subversive in a lot of ways.
They thought they could get away with it because they thought they were ending.
But they never really gave Alphabet Soup much of a role outside of in that origin story that gave any further reflection upon deeper issues.
Yeah, we never really dug into, and how exactly have we all benefited from this organization?
Right.
That traps, and there's some serious shades of Omelos there.
Yes.
The ones who walk away from Omelos. You know, one child suffering alone. We all benefit
Pink,
from it.
Jetman Pink for K, Denzi Man. Yeah, you can go pretty
deep
obscure.
Deep cuts.
I have not seen Showa era Sentai at all, outside of like clips. I think I'd like to at some point. I just haven't checked out. I haven't sought it out. Even though I know the DVDs are starting to come out, have come out at this point for, you know, Jetman and 5-Man.
Got any predictions for the Comic Fury?
For Cosmic Fury?
Cosmic Fury. Or does that count as spoilers? Well, no.
I mean, I don't feel like I
spoiler-free.
can really make predictions tonight.
I think
because I feel like I could say things and they would be either aligned with things that I've kind of glimpsed while trying to scroll past, or me trying to predict something that has already been contradicted. So I feel like trying to make predictions.
I think any
right now is a
predictions
little
that
wacky.
Jake had for Cosmic Fury, you should check back on Twitter when they made the announcement.
They would also not be well informed because I haven't seen. What is something falling over? What
Is
is
this window open?
Shouldn't be. Oh, you know what I bet it is? I bet there's like a vent blowing air on the plexiglass right now. I'm gonna go I'll take a look at that after we sign off.
The plexiglass covered in plastic tape? Is that why
Yeah.
you're making crinkly noises?
Yeah, I was trying to figure out what that was.
There might be a heating vent blowing on the cryo tube cover.
Yeah, so... Yeah, and by the way, in case you couldn't guess, like I said, I've been filming this week. Still have the setup from when I had somebody over here filming for the finale the other day. I know everything left is the finale. The next 3 episodes are the finale. What theme would I give an original Ranger team? An original Ranger team of YouTube reviewers.
I think the answer is Beast Morphers.
Yeah, I've had.
We did this already. It was called Power Rangers Grid Defense.
I know.
Or you could go back to Power Rangers Militia, which was clearly a militia.
One thing that they haven't really done that I did have as an idea for among my fan films would be regarding Zhu Oger would be a video game theme, because Zhu Oger has the blocky
looks
nature,
like Minecraft.
the blocky nature, the Minecraft nature. You could do a video game theme with that, I think, quite well. That could be very interesting.
We skipped out on that too, because the video game.
In the vein of Digimon.
I was gonna say, and we skipped out on that too, because the Sentai that they turned into in space was actually video games.
How close am I to being done with filming for DRPR 98?
Filming?
Filming, I'm getting closer.
Very close.
Editing?
Not at all.
I've done a lot of editing, but I haven't had a chance to really bring things together, layering the effects and things like that. And I still have like, I've filmed a lot of it, but there's still like a lot left to film in terms of just like hours of filming. Like,
not much left to film in terms of hours.
In terms of percentage,
of
the percentage is getting smaller. But that's still quite a few hours left.
It's like, if anyone was following Jake's Twitter, I believe he mentioned the other day that they spent 3 hours.
Yeah, we spent an hour and a half on 3 shots.
That will be a total of 5 seconds or so.
Yeah. Like, and anything
This is what happens when you have action scenes.
Yeah, anything that's an action sequence, it takes hours just for a few seconds at a time.
Dialogue scenes go a lot faster.
Yeah, I can knock out, several minutes worth in an hour when it's dialogue, which is why I was able to film so much of the early stuff so quickly. But the finale,
very, very
action heavy. I was filming. I filmed there's a number of very complex fight sequences.
I've been cooking dinner for the stunt double a lot,
which I appreciate. Mega Ranger was somewhat video game themed. It was more electronics themed. And video gaming was within that theming, along with the ties to Last Starfighter.
Yeah, the foreheads were like...
Yeah, different devices. No, I haven't actually seen Mega Ranger. I think I'd like to. I just haven't. But I feel like that didn't fully lean into a full-on video game theme. As opposed to, say, X-Aid, which leans very heavily into the video game theme. And you don't even realize yet how heavily it leans into it. You've only seen the first few episodes.
I know, but I want to see more because it's 2 of my favorite things.
Yes.
Video games and doctor shows.
Yes.
I like doctor shows. I work in a hospital.
But yeah, one of my
medical field.
my stunt guys, his car's been out of whack, and we haven't been able to get him in. I may need to just go give him a lift at one point so that we can finish that sequence.
Mentor recruiter to a future team. Yeah, those have got to be tough.
Yeah.
You and your stunt double were doing filming for fight scenes stuff, right?
Before the stream.
Yes, that is why.
We were choreographing and did a little bit of shooting for a fight scene that we were doing more work on this Wednesday.
I should mention that the purpose of
Jake's... somebody else to
the purpose of Jake's stunt double isn't to do stunts that Jake can't do.
No.
It's because Jake has to fight himself.
Yes. He's the Phantom Ranger whenever the Phantom Ranger needs to be fighting the Landlord. I do have him do other... If there's something where the Phantom Ranger needs to be doing complex against a different character, he may play a different character, with an obscured face, who can be who can be doing the less complex moves. But generally speaking, if there's like kicking to the face, these big swinging kicks, that's usually me because I'm the one who has that kicking ability. He's able to do still quite a few good solid moves. He can just not quite to the same level that I can.
So that would be the reason why the Landlord has never been kicked in the face.
Not as of this time. This is correct. There's a lot of stuff in fight sequences to go, and we got some really cool looking shots that I'm really pleased with some of the fight sequences. And I feel bad that it's feeling unlikely for 98 to be released in time for the anniversary, and then I'm going to need to take a break from some things for volunteering for the midterm elections, which are extremely important, and I keep wanting to raise money, and then I keep forgetting to actually post a link to raise money, and I'm like out of weeks because I'm going to have to take the break from streaming after next
Please
week.
donate directly to the campaigns of people in your area who are trying to make the world a better place.
Please do. Also, Spread the Vote. Spread the Vote is a great organization that gets voter IDs to people who might otherwise be excluded from voting.
Yeah.
That's
because
a great
voter ID laws in
organization.
places where people who are too poor to get their ID. IDs cost money.
Georgia has some very important Senate races. Pennsylvania has a very important Senate race.
Please don't let us have Dr. Oz in the Senate.
Nobody wants that. Nobody wants that. Make sure that doesn't
It's
happen.
just, it has not worked out historically quite well when reality television people become politicians.
Nor anyone with the title of Oz.
Also, he's a bad doctor.
He's like, you put
He sounds
you
like
put a man named Oz in charge of any aspect of government, dude is just gonna fly off in a balloon someday, not get anything done. That's the way that it goes. Historically, that's how that goes.
Oh, I was just going more into the whole thing where, like, he used to have a show that was mostly about, like, health and stuff.
Oh yeah, no, he's also
and now
just
he
terrible.
just shills, like, protein powder and other, whoever pays him to shill their health product, he will, whether it's good or not.
Oh yeah, that's a whole separate thing.
I don't like Dr. Oz. I didn't like him before he was a politician, and I still don't like him.
Seeing pre-Power Reviews Phantom. I mean, we've had the occasional flashback. We don't get much beyond that. I will say that I am planning something for the 10-year anniversary as a contingency to not being able to get 98 out in time, because it is an undertaking. It was going to be an undertaking trying to get it out during the summer, and during the school year, it's even more of an undertaking.
Yeah, the special effects are really killing you.
The fight scenes are killing me right now.
That too. Because you'll spend 3 hours and get 3 shots.
Yeah, it's a lot. There's going to be a lot of compositing, and I'm still getting all of the pieces together.
And without spoiling it by saying who exactly they are, we would very much like to thank all of the people involved in the action sequences who are coming over as often as they have been coming over to film very small amounts over very large portions of time.
Yep.
Thank you for giving us your evenings.
Yes. There's also still like a couple cameos I'm still trying to make happen.
Are you gonna drive out to Rochester for one of them?
Quite possibly. I might take a train to go get some cameos.
Take a train out to Rochester.
Yeah. Sorry. Like I'm heavily considering taking a train to go meet up with an actor to get some cameos for the finale, because I want them in those final episodes.
They've moved out of the area. Because we took 10 years to make a show.
I might be having somebody like green screen from another state. I'm trying to get as many characters as possible for the final episodes, because I've written them in.
That's what you do in finales.
I've written them in.
You
They're
get
there.
as many people back as you always had. Like, have you guys not?
It's so much. There's so much going on.
This is what you do. It's like the season finale of a Doctor Who.
So much of these scenes are just I'm still piecing them together. Like I know I've done the fight choreography, but I need to put all the people in place, because there's so much compositing to have all the characters in the right places at the right times, with the right camera angles, etc.
I decline to comment on your predictions.
At this point, I will admit it is getting late.
I keep yawning.
It is past our time to retire. We are old.
I have work in the morning.
We have parents. We have a small child. Keeps us very busy.
Probably wake me up a few times before morning.
Probably.
I can't complain too much because
they're adorable.
They go back to sleep real quick.
That's true. That is true. They make
still exhausting.
The cutest little noises in the night.
Sometimes. I am going to miss it so we moved into a house. RJ is getting their own room.
But not yet.
But I still have to,
prepare the room.
Paint it and unpack a bunch of boxes that are in there that don't belong to RJ, but we just shoved them in there because we were in a rush when we moved. Because we can't have them alone in their room with a whole bunch of empty boxes, or a whole bunch of boxes of random stuff. So, yeah.
Dyrano's got to work on math homework. What are you, okay, as a math teacher, I have to ask, what are you going over right now? What's the topic? I mean, I feel compelled to ask now.
Nope.
You can say.
I don't math.
Yeah, I'm not asking you to math. I'm asking what Dyrano's working on with his math. I'm curious. I am a math teacher. That is my
That's
my
why
profession.
I keep you around, so you math for me.
Exactly.
I don't math.
But yeah, I'm still making little adjustments here and there. So if I can, there's so much exposition and action and references to so many things that I want to be able to include other things as well, but I'm just not quite sure where and if I can actually fit them in. Really, right now, my big focus has been on wrapping up the action sequences
Night, Rudy.
for 98. All right, have a great night, Rudy. I won't. If Dyrano's not able to answer with what he's working on in math,
He may have gone to do the math homework.
That's fine. We can wrap this up.
Yes.
I just felt
Okay.
compelled to ask.
We still have.
We do have. What is he doing? He's brushing up on stuff he learned in high school. You didn't do a math class in 12th grade. Oh, and now you're in college. I expect, and so. Okay, so brushing up on the algebra and whatnot.
Pre-calc.
Okay. Yep. Well, I know it varies from state to state.
Oh, right. If you skip senior year, then you probably skip pre-calc.
Pre-calc is often either pre-calc or stats is often a senior year class. A lot of times prior to that, junior year might
Well, best
be
of luck with the college level math.
algebra 2,
Please
geometry,
do better than I
trigonometry, one of those. It depends upon
Got all C's.
the school. But all that said, we do have 3 remaining equally non-controversial phrases. So number 1, say it with me, chat. Love is love. Number 2, say it with me, chat. Trans rights are human rights. And number 3, say it with me, chat. Robots are cool!
Unless they're Mac on Halloween.
Also fair. Calculus, I will quickly say, is something that I feel is intentionally taught as obtusely as possible and is a surprisingly straightforward subject if it's actually explained from a conceptual level. Which is a whole thing.
Don't start him. I want to go to bed.
I could do a whole rant on that. If you have any questions about calculus, I'll be happy to help you out. But for now, I hope that everyone has a great week.
Until next time.
And until next time, farewell, Ranger fans, and let the power protect you.
I'm going to sleep.
I love you. Thank you.